Fun day Friday, y'all. Mr. Harris here with another video. Fourth grade reading. Let's jump right in. So for today, we're going to be focused on reading comprehension, just a couple best practices for when we're reading grade level text, so that we can answer questions and learn more about whatever we're reading, whatever the topic is. So, as always, the first thing that we're going to do is skim our text to find our genre so that we can choose our thinking jobs or identify our thinking jobs. So, as I'm reading through, I see that this first line says, reading the following short story written by Jesse, a fourth grader in Austin, answer the questions that follow Jesse's text. Okay, so a fourth grader wrote a short story. If it's a short stories are another indicator or a key word that let me know that the genre of the text that I'm reading is going to be fiction. So Jesse's written us a piece of fiction writing for us to study today. Shout out to Jesse. All right. And if we're looking at a fiction piece of writing, we know that our thinking jobs are characters, problem, solution, lesson learned. So I'm going to write that right up at the top of our story. I might have spelled lessons learned wrong. Lesson learned wrong. Yep. Let's fix that. Boom. All right. So we have our thinking jobs, we have our genre. Let's jump into reading. The future. I turned my head to check. The police were still on me. I had tried to steal a $900,000 sports car, but the mission was a failure. I dashed down the alley and then into the street. My heart pounded and my legs trembled as I looked around. A taxi. I jumped in the back seat and told the driver, anywhere but here, and be quick. So, first things first, we have our problem in the first paragraph. Okay? Our problem is that the narrator failed his mission. Okay? He tried to steal a $900,000 sports car. But that gives us something about the story as well. Our narrator is a thief. Let's read to find out more about our thieving narrator and exactly why he was stealing. My head whipped and my arms flailed as I fell back into the seat. Everything went blurry as the driver accelerated and stopped suddenly. We were in a junkyard. What? Time travel, I guess. As I looked at the junk around me, I saw a jetpack, what I thought must be a flying car and other stuff. Above my head, I saw a flying city. That's where I need to be, I thought as I paid the driver and climbed out the taxi cab. Now, how could I get up to the city? So, quite randomly, the taxi driver helped a narrator escape using time travel. This story is getting wild. I scrambled around the awesome and endless piles of scrap metal and junk for 3 days. I thought about trying to build a tower, but I didn't even have a hacksaw to cut with. Remembering where the taxi stopped, I went back and found the jetpack. It worked. I strapped it on and fired up the engine. I shot straight up. Fast. Too fast, it turned out. I couldn't control either my speed or direction, and I slammed into the bottom of the city. Bang! My head throbbed and my ears rang. I was dazed. but I noticed that I had the jetpack set for turbo. I turned the dial down to idle, and the engine hummed. Seconds later, I was zooming back toward the flying city. I managed to steer around the bottom edge of downtown. The jetpack ran out of fuel as I coasted into a grassy park. So, narrator is able to travel around the city using a jetpack. I wandered around in sort of daze. So this is what the future looked like. Cars flew, and robots were busy walking dogs, taking out the trash, and buying groceries. The sky was still blue. The skyscrapers seemed to grow right out of the pavement. Where were all the people? I noticed a flying car sitting by an old-fashioned fire hydrant. I jumped in. I guess I never learned, and figured out how to start the motor. It was a sports car from the future, and I was in control now. It was a I don't really know what it was, but it was fast. I found a rundown warehouse and hid my new wheels. I mean wings. I noticed a gauge on the dash that could adjust for the date. I could time travel. Sometimes I have great ideas. I set the gauge for the future and I jumped forward 100 years. I sold the cars an antique from the past. I was rich. So here we can write the narrator finds a time travel car and is able to sell it for money in the future. Funny how life works out, though. I had a pocket full of cash and I could have gone anywhere. I caught a cab back to the past, my original time. When we arrived, I tipped my driver. He glanced back at me and said, "It all evens out in the end, my friend." I stepped out of the time traveling taxi cab, wondering what he meant. Suddenly, I heard the customary click of handcuffs and felt the familiar cold steel on my wrist. "I thought we might see you again," the police officer said with a smile. He was the same police officer I had left behind in the alley. I looked around and saw then what the cabbie meant. The driver had dropped me off in front of the city police station. So we can say that the cabbie or the driver set the narrator up to be caught by the police. And then let's identify our solution. So remember, our original problem was that he tried, he was trying to get away, and we get to the conclusion of our story and realize that he couldn't get away because everything was going to work out in the end, as the taxi cab driver said. It all evens out in the end, my friend. And the lesson learned is that you can't that you can't avoid justice. All right. So now let's turn and we're going to answer some questions about our comprehension with reading. So I'll model two questions, questions 7 and 8, and then your pop question will be question number 9. So question number 7 and question number 8. And then we pop at 9. All right. Question number 7. What did the taxi cab driver mean when he said that it all evens out in the end, my friend? A. Poor choices like stealing lead to negative consequences. B. A penny is a fortune to a poor man. C. It is better to be poor than unhappy. D. Learning about the future helps us understand the present. Okay? Now, if we look at what was read, it all evens out in the end. And then we realize what happens, that the cabbie sets him up with the police officer, and we take into account our lesson learned: you can't avoid justice. When we circle back, the best answer for that question is going to be answer choice A, because poor choices like stealing lead to negative consequences. Our question doesn't tell us anything, and our story doesn't tell us anything about a penny being a fortune to a poor man, nor does it talk about the narrator being poor at all. And it's almost impossible to learn about our future because the future hasn't occurred yet to affect how we think about the present. Let's move on to question number 8. Question number 8. Read this line from the 5th paragraph. Cars flew and robots were busy walking dogs, taking out the trash and buying groceries. What does this description suggest about the future? F. Future robots handle much of the daily work that people used to do themselves. G. Cars are much faster in the future. H. Dogs in the future will be robotic. J. People eat many of the same foods in the future. Now let's look at our answers. F. Future robots handle much of the daily work that people used to do themselves. Well, people used to walk their dogs, take out the trash, and buy groceries. So that may be our answer. So we can leave that blank for now. Answer choice G. Cars are much faster in the future. Here it says that cars flew. That is not talking about the speed of a car. That's talking about its ability to fly. So we can cross that out because that does not relate. Dogs in the future will be robotic. Robots are busy walking dogs. It says that robots are walking dogs. It didn't say that robots are walking robot dogs. So we can cross that answer choice out too. People eat many of the same foods in the future. It says that they buy groceries. Doesn't tell us anything about the kind of groceries that they buy. So we can cross that answer choice out too because it does not fit. And we're left with our best answer choice, which is F. Now, read question number 9 for you guys, and remember, this is the question that you're going to be responding to for your pop question. Read this sentence. I jumped in the back seat and told the driver, anywhere but here, and be quick. The reader can tell that the narrator is A. Trying to travel into the future to seek his fortune, B. In a hurry to escape and worried that he will get caught by the police, C. Concerned that he will be late for an important meeting or appointment, D. Having trouble telling time. Lastly, you have your pop question. Your pop question for today is name one thing you learned in kindergarten. Name one thing you learned in kindergarten. Also, uh, I'd like to let you guys know that I will be uploading an assignment for you all in Study Island. It will be approximately 10 questions based on comprehension. You guys are to complete that. and make sure to check not class dodo, but make sure to check the math portion of Study Island. Everything will be under your fourth grade super squad. Um, in accessing the fourth grade super squad, you'll be able to see your math and reading. And remember that you have to check to make sure that you've completed all your homework in no red ink for this week as well. All right. Thanks. See you guys on Monday.